Portimão has arrived in F1 2021, and while you may have driven around it in other games, doing so in a Formula 1 car is a completely different experience. The first thing you need to be aware of when driving around the Portimão circuit is the elevation change. The circuit frequently rises and dips as you go through a lap, and it's easy to lose control of your car if you're not careful. Let's take turn 4 for example, a steep uphill left-hander. As you reach the crest of this hill, the car will have a tendency to feel light. This reduces the amount of grip available to the rear wheels, making it easier to spin them up. If you're not careful with your throttle inputs through here, the back of the car will step out and you may lose control. You'll also experience this to a more severe degree through the exit of turn 8, as the rise in the circuit occurs before the apex, and the subsequent dip in the road is close to where you'll be going full throttle. Try not to steer the car too much through here and you'll be fine. The uphill sections can benefit you too, however, with the entry to turn 13 being a good example. Much like turn 3 at Austria or turn 1 at Kota, you can brake very late into this as gravity helps pull the car backwards to slow you down. What comes up must also come down, however, and there are several tricky downhill sections to think about throughout the lap. Your first will be the braking zone at turn 5. As the road is falling away from you, you'll be entering at a higher speed, with slightly less grip on the front tyres. If you brake in a straight line before turning, you should be alright, but don't be surprised to see the inside front lock up as you near the apex. The exit of turn 11 is also a tricky one to get right, with the ultra steep downhill section launching the car out of the corner. As with the uphill sections, you need to watch out for excess wheel spin on the crest. One more corner to watch out for is turn 14. Not only is it downhill, but it's off camber too, making it harder to reach the inside apex. Just be patient with your speed through here and focus on your exit towards turn 15. As with every circuit in F1, the curbs are there to let you know where the track ends and the runoff begins, and around Portimão there are some really tricky ones to watch out for. Your first example comes early on at the entry to turn 1, the ultra-fast right-hander that you can take in 6th gear. If you turn in too early, you'll hit a big yellow curb on the inside, which will either throw your car into a spin or send you into the runoff on the exit. Avoid it at all costs. All of the yellow curbs around the track are raised off the ground and are there to make sure you don't cut the corner too much. You'll find them on the insides of turns 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11 and 13. As for the red and white curbs lining the track, those are fairly flat and you can abuse them quite a bit, especially at high speed. Avoid the one on the inside of turn 4 as it might get tricky combined with the elevation change, but the rest should be fine if you're careful on the throttle on the exit. The next set of tips will help you on the exit too, but before that, hit the like button and let me know what you think of the track so far. When you drive without traction control, there's a certain technique you could use to put the power down easier, and it's essential to getting a good lap time around Portimão. Short shifting is where you'll shift up through the gears much earlier than your display tells you to. If you combine it with a patient throttle response, you'll be able to exit corners faster and hopefully without losing control. You'll mainly be doing this through the slower corners, and the first example is through turns 3 and 4. As you pass the apex of turn 3, shift up to 3rd gear and feed some power down while you line up for turn 4. You can put a fair amount of power down as you climb the hill, but you won't be going full throttle just yet. Short shift again to 5th gear, and by the time the road flattens out, you can put the foot down once again. You'll also be using this technique on the exit of turns 5 and 8, and a little bit on the exit of turn 11 as you drop down the hill. To learn more, check out my guide on how to drive without traction control, but for now, let's continue. As you've no doubt figured out so far, Portimão is a tricky place to master, but that difficulty does open up some opportunities for us in the race, especially in multiplayer when people are still learning the layout. Knowing where you can and can't pass will give you the edge when battling your rivals, so let's take a closer look. Turn 1 is an obvious place to try for a pass. However, due to the high-speed nature of the corner, there's only one clean line through here. If you're on the inside before the braking zone, get as close to the left-hand side of the track as you can without making contact. Your opponent will have to back out as they can't take the turn as quickly. Turn 5 is probably the best passing point on the circuit, as it's also the heaviest braking zone. It's fairly wide on the entry too, but tightens up on the exit, so get alongside early and outbrake them into the apex. Turns 7 and 8 are similar to 1 and 2 in that there's no real room for a move, so your next overtaking opportunity is into turn 11. Turns 10 and 11 are a blind double apex where it's really tricky to find the right line and braking point. Don't be surprised to see drivers taking different lines through here. If you can get alongside on the way into turn 10, you can take it at a decent speed before slamming on the brakes for 11. You'll compromise your exit, but if you keep a tight line, they may not get back at you before turn 13, which is another good place to pass. If none of these corners are helping you out, then your backup plan should be to save a bit more energy than normal throughout the lap, and use it all on the exit of turn 14. Turn 15 is flat out and you'll reach a high speed if you go through there using all of your battery. Combine that with the DRS on the main straight and you should be well ahead before you even reach turn 1. By now you should know your way around the track and also how to battle, but how do you get faster? Time Trial is your friend here and has some handy tools to advise you on where to improve. To begin, head to the track and run 5 to 10 laps, enough to feel comfortable with each of the turns. With that done, pause the game and head to the time trial options. In here, turn on the arrival telemetry and the personal best lap telemetry. If you're using the racing line assist, turn that off for now. Now, when you head back out on track, you'll see 2 lines on the road. The blue line is your personal best and the yellow is your rival, usually somebody who's going faster than you. Do some more laps and pay attention to where the line gets wider, as that's where you should brake. If you see big differences between your line and the rival line, that's a good clue as to where you can go faster. For more tips and tricks on how to get faster, check out the guide I did on the F1 channel, and I wish you the best of luck in your next race.